So this is going to be the King of Comedy Explained. I didn't really know how to do the whole voice thing, so I'm doing a video and I'm going to do my best. So I'm just going to start off and go from there. Okay, so the King of Comedy ending finally explained. I'm just going to kind of give an overview of it and relate it to themed courses, and hope I do this right. So, Rupert's a middle-aged male who wants to be a comedian. He lives in his mom's basement and imagines and practices being a comedian and having a show. From this part in the film, it shows it's almost like he's missing something, maybe real friends, because the high he gets from talking to cardboard was not really normal. And it's almost like it brings him comfort or a sense of belonging. So quickly, those are the cardboard cutouts that he was talking to. You could say that Rupert thinks of Jerry, who is a famous comedian, as a god. The way he worships him and protected him from all his fans in one part in the film. And after he got a conversation with them, he then went on to continue to stalk and follow him. Rupert studied him and wanted to be just like him as he practiced in his basement. So as I mentioned, he stalked Jerry and his shows and memorized details about him and how he writes his lines and tips and tricks. There's a part in the movie where they both communicate about a punchline and how they produce it, and Jerry knows just what Rupert's talking about, and Rupert knows exactly what Jerry does with his punchlines. So anyways, as I continue, Rupert has this conversation with Jerry, and Jerry's like, yeah, sure, I'll help you get started, just give me your number, call my office, blah, blah, blah. As Rupert reaches out to Jerry, Jerry ignores Rupert as Rupert then shows up to his office and calls him multiple times. Rupert then takes the next steps with his friend Marcia. I don't have a picture of her up handy, sorry. Who's also obsessed with Jerry. In one part in the film, she tells Jerry that she loves him, and she doesn't even tell her parents that she loves him. They kidnap him together, and they threaten to kill Jerry if Rupert is not able to say his lines on the show and for it to be able to air. In the end, Rupert gets his 5 minutes of fame on the show, and Jerry is set free. Rupert is then all over the news for the kidnapping and bringing more attention to his name and show than the show that he put on. It then shows Rupert being charged and having to face jail time due to the kidnapping. Then it shows the very ending of Rupert either imagining, like he did throughout the whole film, or it's his reality of him out of jail having his own show. So the question is, did he end up with his own show? And my answer is yes. With the way the media works and how he pulled, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm probably saying this wrong, human pseudo event. I'm referring to the kidnapping. Sorry, that just came up. I'm referring to the kidnapping and how he put Jerry's life in danger to get his 5 minutes of fame. However, not only did he get his 5 minutes of fame, he was published all over news platforms for what he did. So the people who watched his show are now not the only people, who knew what he did. The people who read the newspaper, the people who watched the news that week on each of the shows know exactly what he did, not just the people who attended the Jerry show. So, this reminds me actually of the Tiger King, and although the Tiger King had his own show and fame, he's still in jail, and he's still talking about a show, and there's potentially a Tiger King 2 in the works. So, just like Rupert, when he gets out of jail, he will be remembered, and possibly too looked upon as a god for what he did to get what he wanted. I believe Rupert wants to be viewed as a god as well. He thinks those celebrities are worshipped, and therefore he wants to have the fame to be a celebrity so that he can feel that comfort and sense of belonging, because he does not feel it living in his mother's basement. And I just want to end this off with a quote from The One Reading, which also concludes why I think Rupert would have a show after. From the silver screens and their stars, the line is, The higher you rise, the more is expected of you. Mistakes are readily overlooked and forgiven. But in this movie, Rupert was just somebody that nobody knew. Therefore, he was able to get away with it. And he pulled that stunt, and he will be forgiven and forgotten as he rises out of jail and gets his own show.